Former President Donald Trump goes after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis once again, and a federal court says that Joe Biden's student loan debt forgiveness program is illegal. All of that and more here on The Bald Brad Show. Welcome to The Bald Brad Show. It is Friday, November 11th, and as always, support the show by hitting that like and subscribe button, as well as leaving your opinions in the comment section below regarding anything that we cover in today's episode. Your help and support would be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, our lead story of the day is regarding former President Donald Trump launching another attack on Florida Governor Ron DeSantis over his handling of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, to get it out of the way, folks, I voted for Trump twice. I will vote for him a third time. I am a Trump supporter. I am a Trump fan. I love the guy. He's the best president in modern history. But just because I love him, just because I support him, doesn't mean that he does everything correctly. There's going to be some things here that you might not like that I'm about to say, but it's still true. So he launches this attack on DeSantis, who has been widely praised by conservatives, moderates, and some liberals for the way that he responded to the pandemic as he battled against measures touted by Anthony Fauci. You, Senator, don't know what you are talking about. That Anthony Fauci. And refused to shut down his state's economy and public school system. More Americans moved to Florida during the pandemic than moved to any other state as a result of how the state handled the pandemic, meaning Ron DeSantis. Well, Trump began his statements Thursday evening with a long-winded sentence saying News Corp, which is Fox, the Wall Street Journal, and the no longer great New York Post, bring back coal, is all in Florida Governor Ron DeSantis as an average Republican governor with great public relations who didn't have to close up his state, but did, unlike other Republican governors, whose overall numbers for Republican were just average, middle of the pack, including COVID, and who has the advantage of sunshine, where people from badly run states up north would go no matter who the governor was, just like I did. Really? Again, I am a Trump supporter. What is he doing? Some people said last time, oh, well, he called him Ron DeSantis. They're friends. It's not a big deal. He is going after this man. And it's going to fracture the Republican Party. As I've said numerous times, this is not a good thing. He attacked Ron DeSantis before the midterms. I said, you can create a fracture. Independents are going to look at it and go, man, I'm getting memories of how Trump handled things before. Those that were wavering just went Democrat. Yeah, and he's attacking his own party right now before the midterms. What the heck? I'm going to go vote Democrat, or I'm not going to vote at all. If you look at the ones that Trump backed, they didn't do well in the elections. I'm not saying that's the result of us not having a red wave, but Trump's messaging is horrible right now, you guys. This can't happen. This is not a good thing. You are going to fracture the Republican Party based on Trump. A lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans like Trump, but they also like Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis did a great job during the pandemic. This is bad. This is dumb. Trump's being a dum-dum right now. He doesn't need to be saying this stuff. And I know there's a lot of Bald Brad Show listeners that are big Trump fans. Again, I'm repeating myself. I am a Trump fan along with you. But just because we all love him doesn't mean that he does everything correctly. This is dumb. Trump continued by saying that DeSantis was desperate in 2017 and that DeSantis had low approval, bad polls, and no money. But he said that if I would endorse him, he could win. Well, so what? The guy's killing it now. Look at the way he swung Florida. Florida was kind of a reed in the wind as well. Kind of like what we see in Pennsylvania or hell, Georgia in reality, a swing state. Not anymore. They're freaking just glowing red. So I don't know what Trump's talking about. Quote, I also fixed this campaign, which had completely fallen apart, Trump continued. I was all in for Ron, and he beat Gillum, but after the race, when votes were being stolen by the corrupt election process in Broward County and Ron was going down 10,000 votes a day, along with now Senator Rick Scott, I sent the FBI and the U.S. attorneys, and the ballot theft immediately ended just prior to them running out of the votes necessary to win. I stopped his election from being stolen. This is another problem, you guys. He needs to stop this whole election fraud thing. He has to stop it. It's going to hurt us. Whether you believe it or not, it has to stop. If he continues this trend, I don't see him winning in 2024. I'm calling it now. For two reasons. Look at the way the Democrats have ran this country into the ground. Everything is bad. And they still came out and showed up in the voting. We didn't have the red wave that we thought we did. Meaning if this trend continues, Regardless of how bad Joe Biden runs this place into the ground, Trump is going to make matters worse, and he's not going to win in 2024. I know people don't want to hear that. I mean, oh, that's crazy. I'm calling it right now. If he continues doing this, we're donezo. Quote, and now Ron DeSantis is playing games, Trump concluded in his attack on DeSantis. The fake news asked him if he's going to run if President Trump runs, and he says, I'm only focused on governor's race. I'm not looking in the future. Well, in terms of loyalty and class, that's really not the right answer. He's not doing any favors for himself. He's pissing off conservatives. He's not making Republicans happy, independents or liberals, or those that were actually probably going to swing Republican based on everything of Joe Biden's done or Joe Biden's performance. It's not a good look, you guys. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's really not. Well, you had a bunch of people taking to Twitter and not happy about what Trump said. You have Anders Hagstrom. Intentional or not, DeSantis has stoked Trump from minor annoyance to frothing rage, all without speaking a single word against him. Jonathan Swain. Phone is blowing up. Even staunch Trump allies are cringing at this rant against DeSantis. It's not looking good. The average Republican governor, referring to a 45th president's statement as an approval rating of 64% and just won several deep Democratic counties on Tuesday. If this is a preview of his 2024 primary strategy, it will turn off far more voters than it will bring in. That's exactly what I just said. Especially what we just saw of a massive red wave that's supposed to happen that we didn't get. It was a splash. It was a trickle. And now he's doing this. You have Tim Pool. Trump crying about DeSantis right now on Truth Social makes him look weak as F. Haynes Mankel. For 6 years, we've been hearing how Comey, Mueller, Schiff, Vindman, Biden, Garland, etc. were going to take Trump down. In the end, he took himself down. I think it's a little bit early, but like I said, if he doesn't change his messaging, yeah, it's not going to look good for Trump. Because what's going to happen, you guys, it doesn't mean that people are going to vote for somebody else necessarily. They're just not going to vote at all for the top of the ticket. They'll vote down the ticket. They're just not going to vote for Trump. Like, yes, screw it. I'm just not going to vote Republican. That's the problem we're going to have here. We need the independents, you guys. He can't do this. Regardless of whether you and I care in reality, I don't personally care that he's attacking Ron DeSantis. I don't think it's a good look. I think Ron DeSantis is doing a great job. I don't agree with him. I personally don't care, but I do care about trying to gather more votes at the end of the day. And this is not going to do it. It's like what we said. It's like what we said under Hillary and Joe Biden. If he just shut his mouth, especially under Joe Biden, when he's going up against him, if Trump would have just shut his mouth, he would have been fine. He would have won if he just, but he can't do it. And I don't know why there's nobody around him that goes, shut up, Trump, stop doing it, stop talking, just can't do it. You have another person saying it's a stupid nickname and a stupid comment. And if this is how Trump wants to go, he's going to lose his primary. I just said that. Thank you. I haven't read any of these, by the way. It's just, these are other conservatives, Republicans, and other people just saying the same thing I am. But he's a big boy and he can do what he wants. Yes. I mean, Candace Owens talked to him just recently. This is kind of behind the scenes glimpse of what she was saying. And Trump is still bothered by what took place with the last election and is still bothered with election integrity, election fraud, and all that stuff. You can be bothered by it, but that can't be your messaging. That can't be what you continue to put out there. And she was trying to bring him back on, you need to let it go, man. Fix your messaging. And she said she's worried about who's advising him. And me too. Is somebody advising him correctly or incorrectly? Or is it just Trump just shooting and saying, hey, you know what? I'm just going to say whatever I want. He doesn't get that it's going to hurt him. He doesn't get it. DeSantis hasn't attacked Trump a single time. Trump's attacks on the governor just reek of insecurity. He can't stand being shown up by a younger man in the future of the Republican Party. If DeSantis were smart, he would reply with, I prefer candidates that win re-election, and leave it at that. I mean, you guys, it's tweet after tweet after tweet of people coming out and just shellacking Trump for what he did. I want to know what you think about this in the comments below, because I know we got a lot of Trump supporters here, including myself. For those that said, well, they're friends, it's not looking like that right now. You could be friends in terms of politics, going, you have the same agenda at the end of the day, you have the same goal, but this is not making friendships out of DeSantis. Boots on the ground are saying DeSantis is not going to run in 2024, so at the end of the day, it might not matter, but it still matters because you're going to have conservatives and Republicans that are going to, screw this guy now. I don't like Trump. I don't want to deal with him anymore. If he's going to talk bad about another Republican who's actually doing a good job, you just lost those votes. Going into our second story of the day, we got federal court declaring Biden's student loan bailout is illegal. This is a victory right now, folks. A victory as of right now. As always, again, hit that like and subscribe button. So we talked about this at length, and I was like, why are we having to pay for somebody else's schooling? Why are we subsidizing for somebody else's schooling when they went down and took out that loan themselves? They volunteered to do it. It wasn't like anybody twisted their arm. They went and did it themselves. Why should we have to pay for somebody else's education as an adult? You got a bunch of blue collar workers that never went to college that are having to subsidize somebody else's college. You have those like myself that paid off our student loans, paid off a $60,000 student loan in a year and a half. But now I have to pay for somebody else's student loan because they're the one who took it out in the first place. But then they're shocked when they go in the basket weaving or lesbian dance theory and they can't pay off their loan because they're not getting paid enough money. What again, it's just a redistribution of wealth, socialism, and this is what Joe Biden wants. But then Joe Biden's going to call a bunch of people that says socialism is bad a bunch of idiots. A federal judge in Texas ruled Thursday evening that President Joe Biden's student loan bailout is illegal, dealing a massive blow to the administration. Just a punch to the gut because this is one of his campaign promises, which is really, I think, at the end of the day, why he pushed it through, whether he agrees with it or not. He wanted to keep his promise because his base was pissed that he wasn't pushing it through. Yet, U.S. District Judge Mark Pittman made the ruling in response to a lawsuit filed by the Job Creators Network Foundation, which alleged that Biden's student loan bailout violated federal procedures. The Job Creators Network filed a lawsuit last month on behalf of two borrowers, one who did not qualify for the full amount the program offered, and another who was deemed ineligible altogether. Here's the quote. The case involves a question of whether Congress, through the HEROES Act, which you've heard before from Peter Doocy, as well as Jackie Henrick of Fox News, gave the secretary authority to implement a program that provides debt forgiveness to millions of student loan borrowers, totaling over $400 billion, Pittman wrote. Whether the program constitutes good public policy is not the role of this court to determine. Still, no one can plausibly deny that it is either one of the largest delegations of legislative power to the executive branch or one of the largest exercises of legislative power without congressional authority in the history of the United States. I agree with this fully. Ben Shapiro has talked about it. Steven Crowder's talked about it. I mean, Charlie Kirk. I mean, you name a conservative Republican, this is what we've all been saying. This is such an overreach. It's ridiculous. This is such an imbalance of power coming from the executive branch. It's head spinning. Democrats are all for it. Joe Biden doesn't see a problem with it. This is a party that loves power. They love big government. It's not a shock they would try to do something like this, but it's an overreach. Quote, in this country, we're not ruled by an all-powerful executive with a pen and phone. That's exactly what I just said. Instead, we are ruled by a constitution that provides the three district and independent branches of government. As President James Madison warned, the accumulation of all powers, legislative, executive, and judiciary, is the same hands. So he's coming from the Federalist Papers here. I believe it's Federalist 47. I almost said 45. I think it's 47. In the same hands, whether one, a few, or many, and whether hereditary, self-appointed, or elective, may just be pronounced the very definition of tyranny. Again, this is from Madison in the Federalist Papers. The court is not blind to the current political division in our country, he concluded, but it is a fundamental to the survival of our republic that the separation of powers as outlined in our Constitution be preserved. Thank you for the love of God that you have some guy out there that's a judge that actually understands, and it seems like is a constitutionalist and actually gets the idea of how this country should work. Democrats don't get it. Progressive lefts that are on the courts don't get it. This guy actually understands it. Thank God. What a way to end the week, right? With somebody that actually uses their noggin, and we have them here going against a clear overreach of the executive branch. And having been interpreted by the HEROES Act, which is just head spinning, you guys, the fact that they try to throw the HEROES Act in there. The court holds that it does not provide clear congressional authorization or authority for the program proposed by the secretary. Biden's controversial student loan bailout would cancel up to $10,000 for student loan for individuals who earn less than $125,000 a year. Folks, I'm going to be blunt here. If you owe, just say $10,000 in your student loan debt and you make six figures, you're not doing your budget correctly. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's the facts. That's the truth. You also have, or less than $250,000 for married couples. Karine Jean-Pierre saying, well, we want to relieve the burden on these people. And what they could do with that $10,000 is they could put it down on a mortgage. Oh, goody. So go get that debt relieved. Take that money, put it on a mortgage that has a higher interest rate because the Federal Reserve is increasing interest rates. You got mortgage rates upwards of like 7% plus in some areas. No, it's good. No, that's perfect. So just put yourself more in the debt. That's a great idea. So at least, again, I wanted to end this off on a good note because this is a great thing for us that there's still judges out there that are ruling correctly, that look at the Constitution, they look at the Federalist Papers, they look at the way the founding and our government was created and actually go with it. Rather than, oh, well, let's just give the executive branch all the power. Oh, well, just swipe of a pen, we're good. $10,000 here. Oh, you want some more money here? Let's throw it here. It needs to stop. Regardless of whether they're Republican or conservative or freaking Democrats and progressive left, I don't care who it is. The executive branch is given way too much power with these executive orders and just the swiping of the pen. It needs to stop. We're trillions of dollars in debt. It needs to stop now. And it looks like it's stopping here with this judge from Texas. Folks, again, leave your comments down below. I'm curious on what you think about all this in today's episode, even this segment here. Hit that like and subscribe button. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow here on The Ball Brad Show.